Just outside the dusty edges of El Salvador's capital lies a structure that looks like it was designed for a dystopian future. Except it's very real and very now. It's called CECOT, short for Centro de Confinamiento del Terrorismo, or Terrorism Confinement Center. And it's not just the biggest prison in Latin America. It's one of the most extreme facilities ever constructed in the Western Hemisphere. Designed to house over 40,000 inmates, CECOT was built with a single mission: to bury El Salvador's most dangerous gang members, MS-13, Barrio 18, and others, so deep in the system they might as well not exist. But to understand how this fortress came to be, you need to understand the chaos that came before it. For decades, El Salvador was one of the most violent countries on Earth, with homicide rates that outpaced war zones. Streets were ruled by gangs, not governments. Deals were struck in the shadows between political leaders and gang bosses. The country was gripped by fear, and for many, law and order felt like a distant fantasy. Then came 2019. A young, tech-savvy president named Nayib Bukele took office, and he didn't come to negotiate. In just a few years, under Bukele's iron-fisted crackdown on crime, the murder rate dropped to historic lows. Today, El Salvador is statistically safer than the US and Canada. And CECOT, it's the crown jewel of this transformation, a bold symbol of what happens when a nation decides to go to war with its own monsters. What lies beyond CECOT's gates is shocking. Stripped of freedom, stripped of identity, and stripped of power, this is where the former kings of the streets come to disappear. And you're about to step inside. Stepping into CECOT isn't like entering a prison. It's like crossing into another dimension, a world engineered for absolute control. Before you even catch a glimpse of an inmate, you're funneled through a gauntlet of security checkpoints, each more intense than the last. Think airport security, but militarized. Armed guards search every inch of your body, down to your socks and the soles of your shoes. They even scan for contraband hidden in the most invasive places imaginable. Nothing gets in, nothing gets out. Inside, everything is stripped down to its most functional form. No clutter, no color, no distractions. The architecture is minimal and sterile, almost surgical. It's not just a matter of design, it's psychological warfare. This place wasn't built to rehabilitate. It was built to erase any sense of autonomy. The reason for this iron grip is chilling. Before CECOT, gang leaders were running criminal empires from inside prison walls, coordinating hits, moving drugs, controlling entire neighborhoods. All of it done with a simple cell phone. That's no longer an option. CECOT has zero cellular service. Every signal is jammed. Every attempt to communicate with the outside world is cut off. Inside these walls, gang power doesn't just diminish, it vanishes. And that's just the start. Security extends far beyond locked doors. From full-body scanners to facial recognition systems, every person who passes through CECOT is tracked and monitored like a lab specimen. There are 27 watchtowers, 2 massive perimeter walls, and a 27-foot-high barrier laced with 9 feet of electrified fencing, charged at 15,000 volts. Even the gravel underfoot is a weapon, chosen because it crunches loudly, so no one, not even a desperate inmate, can sneak around undetected. This isn't just a prison, it's a maximum security statement. A brutal reminder to every gang member in El Salvador: your reign is over. The moment you step into the cell block, the air changes. It's heavier, thicker. The silence is loud, and the eyes watching you, cold, hollow, unreadable. You're now face to face with some of the most violent men on the planet. Former shot callers, killers, kidnappers, many with MS-13 or Barrio 18 tattoos carved deep into their skin, some right across their foreheads. In another life, they ruled neighborhoods. Now they're barefoot, shirtless, shackled, and packed in like animals. There is no privacy, no comfort, no mercy. Everything a person might use to hold on to a shred of dignity has been stripped away. The cells themselves are a brutal reflection of that. Tight steel bunk beds with no pillows, no mattresses, no blankets. Just a single sheet. The overhead lights never turn off, so the inmates never know if it's day or night. There's no schedule, just monotony, just survival. If you need to relieve yourself, you do it in a steel toilet in full view of everyone else. There are no doors, no partitions, showers, toilets, sleep, all in the same space. Every moment is public, every need is exposed, and the punishment for stepping out of line? Solitary confinement, a concrete box with a slit for light, and no bed, no blanket, not even enough room to stretch your legs. Just a hole in the ground for a toilet. Just silence. Just your thoughts. Some say a few days in there feels like a year. But what's even more disturbing is what you see in their faces. These men, once fueled by pride and power, now move in silence, heads down, eyes empty. Some don't speak, some don't blink. Guards say that when you look into their eyes, you don't see a person. You see the absence of one. It's like staring into a void. And yet, despite everything, there's a faint, surreal twist. Some of these inmates still smile. A flash of teeth here and there. A glance that reminds you they're still human. Or maybe they're not smiling at all. Maybe they're just watching. Waiting. Because inside CECOT, hope is dead, but danger is very much alive. Every minute of every day inside CECOT is engineered to break the will. There are no choices, only commands. And if you're an inmate here, you follow them without question. Discipline is enforced with military precision. Wake-ups, workouts, meals, even worship. It's all part of a carefully designed ritual meant to destroy identity and enforce obedience. In the yard, inmates are marched out in silence. No talking, no looking around, no hesitation. They're ordered to line up, squat, or face a wall, foreheads pressed flat against the concrete, hands behind their backs like prisoners of war. Guards don't shout. They barely speak. A single gesture is enough. These gangsters, once feared on the streets, now flinch at a glance. Exercise is mandatory, but not for health. It's about control. They're forced through basic movements, lunges, toe touches, under the watchful eyes of guards and sometimes even instructors. Every motion is synchronized, every mistake punished. It's not a gym session, it's a display of who's in charge. And then there's religion. In a bizarre twist, some prisoners are led into an open area where a preacher reads from the Bible. The gospel echoes through the concrete, a surreal contrast to the lives these men once led. Some listen, others don't. But the message is clear. CECOT owns not just your body, but your soul too. Meals are another exercise in dehumanization. No meat, no variety. Just the same slop, day after day. Enough to survive, but never enough to feel full. You don't get to choose when you eat or what you eat. You take what you're given, or you go hungry. And forget about communication. No phones, no letters, no visits. The outside world might as well not exist. Family, friends, lovers, gone. If you want to speak to anyone, even a judge, you do it through a Zoom screen, under guard surveillance, and you raise your hand to speak like a child in a classroom. Everything here is calculated to remind inmates of one thing: freedom is not coming back. If you think there's any way out of this place, think again. CECOT isn't just a prison, it's a fortress. Every brick, every camera, every inch of steel is part of a system built to make escape not just unlikely, but unthinkable. The perimeter, double walls. The first one, massive. The second, a towering 27 feet of reinforced concrete. crowned with 9 more feet of electrified fencing, pulsing with 15,000 volts. That's enough power to kill a man before he hits the ground. And if, by some miracle, you made it that far, you'd still have to get past 27 armed watchtowers, each manned by elite guards trained to shoot without hesitation. But even before you get to the walls, the ground gives you away. It's covered in loose pebbles, strategically chosen because they crunch loudly under every step. There's no sneaking, no crawling, no creeping your way to freedom. Any sound, any shadow, and the entire place locks down. And the guards, they're not just armed, they're armored like riot squads at war. Helmets, shields, full body protection. Some carry shields big enough to stop bullets. Others stand at the ready in fully stocked weapons rooms, where everything from assault rifles to riot gear is neatly arranged, just in case chaos dares to rise. In the rare event that a prisoner gets violent, they're shackled at the wrists, ankles, and waist, forced to walk in a crouch, each movement limited by chains. It's a humiliating march of submission, and a reminder that resistance is useless. No one has ever escaped from CECOT, and no one ever will. Not because they don't want to, but because this place is designed to crush that very idea before it even forms. In here, escape isn't impossible because of the walls. It's impossible because the walls break your mind long before you reach them. Buried deep within the concrete veins of CECOT is one of the only places where inmates are allowed to speak. Not freely, but formally. Here, justice is delivered through screens and silence. Inmates awaiting trial are brought into small, sterile rooms. No courtroom, no jury box. Just a metal chair, a camera, and a flickering monitor. The judge appears on the screen via Zoom, thousands of miles away. It's justice at a digital distance. The inmate, shackled and surrounded by guards, must raise his hand just to speak, like a student asking permission in a classroom he'll never leave. One by one, they log in. Some plead, some remain silent. Some, perhaps for the first time in years, look unsure, human. But make no mistake, these aren't small-time offenders. Every man in that chair is there because he's believed to have taken a life, or many. These are not people accused of petty theft. They're facing justice for murder, kidnapping, drug trafficking, extortion, the full catalog of terror. And while the law technically gives them a chance to defend themselves, the outcome is rarely in question. El Salvador's war on gangs is absolute. President Bukele's administration made sure of that. Trials are swift, appeals are rare. And inside CECOT, a guilty verdict doesn't just mean a sentence. It means a death certificate signed in slow motion. In one room, a prisoner tries to prove his innocence. Calm, focused, staring at the screen as if it's his last window to the outside world. Maybe it is. In another, a man with tattoos across his face, MS-13 ink running from temple to neck, barely blinks as the charges are read. For some, the verdict is closure. For others, it's confirmation that they will never see the sky again unless it's behind bars. Justice here is fast, but what's more terrifying is that it's final. In CECOT, there are no second chances. As the final gate slammed shut behind me, the air shifted. Outside CECOT, the sun felt different, but inside, time doesn't move. It stagnates. Inmates here aren't just serving sentences, they're vanishing. Many of these men were once kings of the streets. They moved drugs, ordered hits, extorted families, and walked through cities like gods. But now, inside these walls, they've been stripped of everything. Status, comfort, even identity. No more names, just numbers. No more pride, just survival. You see it in their eyes, the emptiness, the hollow gaze of a man who knows his life is already over, even if his body keeps breathing. Some stare at you like they're trying to remember what freedom felt like. Others don't even bother looking up. The light in them is gone. And yet, for a moment, A few smiled. It catches you off guard, the sudden flash of humanity behind the tattoos, behind the crimes. It's not sympathy they want. It's recognition. A desperate need to be seen one last time as human before disappearing into a system that will never let them out. It's sobering, because whether they were born into violence or chose it, this is where it ends. A sheet of steel for a bed, lights that never turn off, no pillow, no quiet, no night or day, just existence, and maybe reflection, if they're lucky enough to find it. What President Bukele has built here is more than a prison. It's a warning to the world, to criminals, and to governments that let gangs take root. The message is loud and clear. Crime no longer pays in El Salvador, and those who once ruled with fear now live in it. Behind every locked door in CECOT is a life destroyed by choice and a country rebuilt by consequence. And whether you agree with this extreme justice or not, one thing is undeniable. El Salvador is now the safest country in the Western Hemisphere. And it didn't happen by chance. It happened by force. I was one of the first Americans allowed inside this place, and I may never forget it. Because no matter how tough you think you are, nothing prepares you for the sound of 1,000 broken futures echoing behind a wall you'll never see beyond.